Everybody better pay attention. We're going to move fast around here. Senator, I hope you're ready. You're up. I'd like to call the Committee of Finance, Senate Finance, back to order. And we are going to start with Senate Bill 54. You're on. Let's go. Everybody's ready.
Thank you very much, Chair Dondero Loop, members of the committee. Apologies, my notes still say good morning. Good morning. Gabriel DeCara, Chief Deputy Secretary of State for the record, presenting Senate Bill 54.
And James Orchall, State Senate District 21. Thank you for hearing the bill, Chair.
This bill proposes the creation of an elections procedure manual and a required county and city clerk training program. This document, the manual, will be revised on a biennial basis and have its material approved by the Legislative Commission not less frequently than every 4 years. Once created, this elections procedure manual will act as the textbook for the second part of Senate Bill 64, which is a mandatory county and city clerk training program. This training program will be conducted annually with attendance being required for county and city election officials. While it would be manual for the clerks themselves and registrars, it would be open and optional for other county and city staff members as well. The Secretary of State's office would be allowed but not required to reimburse costs related to this training for additional staff above and beyond. The exodus of election officials that began following the 2020 election cycle has not stopped, and there is significant need for training of new staff. The passage of this bill would be a step in the right direction to address the challenges made by these departures so that future election cycles will continue to be administered as required by law. Thank you for your time and consideration. We remain available for any questions.
And Chair Dondero Loop, with your permission, I wonder if I could allow Deputy Secretary of State Mark Woloshyn to take my seat here to help answering questions. I'm here.
Thank you very much. All right. Welcome. Please go ahead when you're ready.
I think that was it for our presentation.
Keep going. Are you done? Okay, we're on to the next person. Welcome, Deputy Secretary. Did you have anything you needed to say?
No,
or
Chair,
you just want to stand for questions? Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody have questions? Senator Gocochea, please.
Yes. Thank you. Just looking at the bill. Now, it will require every county clerk or city clerk to attend, but then it's optional for their staff to attend, correct? Okay, thank you.
Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to ask a question, and thank you for being here this evening. So just for clarification, the training is going to be mandatory for another, you're mandating training for another elected official. The clerks are all elected with the exception of one county, is that correct? Washoe and Clark are both appointed. So the other 15 folks are elected officials, so you're mandating training for them. And I think there is precedent for that. I just want some clarification from our legal or maybe our staff on that we do mandate some training of our judges and other elected officials.
Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. I could get with legal counsel, community legal counsel. Judges is one that I can think of, elected positions where they're mandated to take certain training.
Right. So there's precedent that we as a body can put in statute mandatory training for an elected official under certain circumstances.
Wayne Thorley for the record, that's my understanding.
And then this training that's going to be done, it's not clear on what exactly what that's going to be involving. Will it be the equipment that they're using? Will it be the top-down voter registration that we're now implementing? Will it be just a general education on how to clear ballot rolls, those type of things in current law? The scope of the training is what I'm asking.
Thank you very much for the question, Senator Titus. Madam Chair, through you. So this training will encompass a number of things. For example, as statute changes over the course of legislation, clerks, city and county clerks require information from the Secretary of State's office as to how to implement that statute and any regulations. And also, this training and this manual are intended to be very specific hands-on guides for how to use the hardware and the software that actually run the elections. So exactly top-down voter registration, we're in the process of transitioning to a new system. This would mandate, and we're looking especially here at new clerks because there has been so much turnover since 2020. Folks need some hands-on guidance, and it's probably best if we do that in a group setting with all of the city and county clerks instead of one-on-one as they have questions. But for more specifics, let me hand it over to Deputy Voloshin.
Thank you. Mark Voloshin, Deputy Secretary of State for Elections, for the record. Through you, Madam Chair, to Senator Titus. As my Chief Deputy said, again, the goal is to make this as specific and focused as possible. We had considered theoretical discussions in classes on the history of American elections since 1700, and we realized, while interesting for a couple, 2, 3 of us perhaps, that isn't going to help a county or city clerk execute an election in accordance with Title 24 of the federal laws needed in the shortened timelines that in some cases they have to do so. Case in point, City of Henderson, again, Clark County and the City of Henderson both had experienced clerks and staff, but that easily could have been a different county and city that had to do something very similar. So it would be very specific, how do you do things to meet the statutory requirements and why, to meet the needs of their electorate in accordance, and really through the lens of our state and federal laws.
As you know, if I might, Madam Chair, continue one more time, I don't want to make a long evening here, but we have a lot of distrust of the election process, and I want to make sure that, just for the record, this is going to be a transparent document that anybody would have access to, and that it's not going to interfere with any clerk that decides or any county decides to hand count ballots, none of that. It's simply an instruction process of current law, current operations, current technology. So in so many ways, it's going to help make sure that our elections are run as smoothly and as transparent as possible.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Senator Titus. Madam Chair, through you to the senator. So yes, this will be everything from here's what the statute is, here's what the regulations are, here you do it, but also, again, more specifically, when you need to run a report for the state, here's where you click to run the report. We will be updating the document frequently, but again, in statute, in this bill, any significant changes would be required to be reviewed by the Legislative Commission.
Mark Voloshin, for the record, through you, Chair, to Senator Titus. In addition, it is absolutely imperative that it be a public document. This is as much an informational document for our clerks and registrars and their staff members as it is for the public. As you cited, there's questions about our processes, and the more we can inform and educate the public, the better off we'll all be.
Excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that has questions? Senator Neal? Anybody else have a question? All righty. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here this evening. And with that, I'll go to those in support of Senate Bill 54 here in Carson City. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Hi, Isaac Tenorio with Strategy 360, today representing Campaign Legal Center. We want to just urge you to support SB 54. We believe it'll increase transparency in elections, and it'll provide a proper education throughout the state, and we think that's a good thing. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Chair. For the record, Emily Prasad Zamora, PERSAUD-ZAMORA, and I'm the Executive Director of Silver State Voices. It's been a long day, so we're just going to say we support the bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any additional support here in Carson City? Seeing none, none in Las Vegas. BPS on the phone lines when you're ready.
The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. Anybody in opposition to Senate Bill 54? Please come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chairman. My name is Janine Hansen, and I'm the State chairman of the Independent American Party. I'm very happy that the first reprint of this bill contains some overview by the Legislative Commission of what's in the manual. The original bill did not. I'm just not sure if the Legislative Commission is required to hold a hearing so that the public could participate in terms, I'm not sure how the Legislative Commission portion works. I haven't had as much experience with that. I do know they do hold hearings, but I think it's very imperative that this have a public hearing because there will be regulations for the running the elections, and so I think that's very important. And if that's the case with the Legislative Commission, I'm happy that that is the case, that they will have public hearings with regards to the regulations that will be in the manual. I think that's very, very important, that the public have an opportunity to have a look at it and something to say about it as well. And then the other thing that I just have some concerns about is that we heard the representatives of the Secretary of State say, we are moving towards a top-down system. This continues to concern many of the local communities because they are fearful that their autonomy and what their local clerks can do that they elect will not have the same kind of autonomy in elections. They've all done a really good job in running elections, and we feel that this may be part of the program to usurp their autonomy, and that is one of our concerns. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good evening.
Thank you. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Hi, Madam Chairman and committee. Barbara Jones for the record. This bill is far bigger than it's been presented here. This is implementation, part of the implementation of the REMS project, which this bill authorizes the Secretary of State to make this manual, which, if you read the words, requires compliance with every city, county. It's a top-down implementation of the REMS project. If you don't know what that is, it has national and international connections. This is part of it. You won't see that name, REMS, but it is implemented by a number of bills, 242, this one. It requires the Secretary of State also to make any change to the election procedures manual that is not substantially related to administrating an election without the approval of the Legislative Commission. And it authorizes them to basically implement. The Secretary of State is responsible implementation to bring every city and county on board, which means your local cities and counties will not have control of their own elections. The other bills help force you onto the machines. It's an outside vendor who's already been chosen. It's to be implemented this year. The cost, and it's all on the Secretary of State website if you just check the REMS project. I have a few copies here if you pick one up. It also it requires compliance. The training, also some of the staff can be trained. You've got the per diem costs, and $30 million is to be implemented this year. This is the third phase of the REMS project. It's $30 million. They've already spent 427 something. So I have it on the paper, but you can go on the website and check it for yourself on the Secretary of State's website. I was absolutely shocked. I've done a lot of research on the Gardner consulting firm that was used for this, and the connections are not good nationally and internationally. It also says, not on this sheet I have here, it's also partly funded by a federal grant. Also, the the federal grant have a, so this is a top-down, and the connections through Gardner, Zeld, and the other one, and the vendors, it goes international. If you want, and they can share with any agency anywhere. Example, right on the website is Health and Human Services. If you think your private information should go in the machines, which is why they're in a lot of bills trying to get you on the machines. So you can't, so please stop this bill and implementation of this project, because the privacy is gone and the control locally is gone. And it's extremely serious. I couldn't even believe it. I've spent so much time researching it. The vendor's been chosen. It's called KNOWINK. They're international. It's up for sale now. Previously in this legislature, the children's database, which parents can't get, went to the vendor, and the vendor sold to China.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please
All right.
vote no.
Any additional opposition here in Carson City? Seeing none in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone lines for opposition. BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 54, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good evening, Chair and Committee. My name is Jim DeGraffenried. I'm Nevada's National Committee man, and we are in opposition to SB 54 on behalf of the Nevada Republican Party. SB 54 is an attack on local control. Local control is regularly invoked when defending irregular election practices in Clark County, such as excluding poll observers, not following publicly posted schedules, or refusing to allow cameras to live stream ballot counting process to the public as other counties do. The importance of local control over elections was used as the reason to not address each of these real-life issues. SB 54 is also an attack on the right of voters to determine what kind of election system they find trustworthy. Nevada's counties, like our residents, are diverse and varied. The system for Esmeralda County, with 617 registered voters, can and perhaps should be radically different from Clark County, where there are over 1.3 million active voters. But that's not a decision for an unaccountable commission to decide behind closed doors. It is for the voters in each county to decide. SB 54 disenfranchises rural voters by preventing them from directing their local county representatives to implement a voting system that they find most fair and responsive to their needs. This bill is an improper attempt to circumvent procedures for issuing new regulations, which require public comment and participation via the Nevada Administrative Code. Open meetings and a strict adherence to open meeting laws are the hallmark of transparent government. An arbitrary Secretary of State guidebook attempting to impose a one-size-fits-all election rule statewide is an attempt to subvert the authority of county commissioners and county clerks to decide their county-specific election procedures, an authority which should be protected by the Democrat-sponsored Voters' Bill of Rights. For all of these reasons, we request that you please vote no on SB 54. Thank you.
Thank you very much. BPS, next caller, please.
There are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City. Neutral in Las Vegas, neutral on the phone lines. BPS, when you're ready.
The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, closing remarks, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Gabriel DeCare for the record. I just want to clarify that the purpose of this manual is to help train new clerks and even some current clerks on exactly what is required by law in statute and regulation. This is not an attempt in any way to adjust how clerks want to run their elections, but there are requirements by law that they need help getting up to speed with. There are systems required by statute that this body passed that we need to make sure that they know how to operate. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And would you just say your name for the record before you leave?
Gabriel DeCare for the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, I will close the hearing. That hurt. I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 54, and we will go to Senate Bill 216. And we'll welcome back Senator Orenshaw. Please go ahead when you're ready, sir.
Good evening, Chair Dondero Loop, members of the Senate Finance Committee. Thank you very much for hearing Senate Bill 216. I'm very fortunate to have Deputy Secretary of State Gabriel DeChara here next to me to help me co-present. Senate Bill 216 comes to your committee from the 2021 to 2022 Joint Interim Standing Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. This bill is a product of discussions held during meetings of the Interim Committee regarding the difficulties faced by members of our state's tribal nations when voting or registering to vote. The Interim Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections heard testimony from the Nevada Indian Commission and tribal members whose concern the Interim Committee took into consideration when voting to draft legislation for our upcoming 2023 session. Tribal citizens have historically faced high barriers to participating in the voting process due to the remote locations of many tribal lands in our state. 24 of the 27 federally recognized tribal nations in Nevada are more than a 1-hour drive from a community of 10,000 people or more. We have also heard from the Nevada Indian Commission that with the high amount of turnover among county clerks recently, it has been difficult for tribal leaders and citizens who are engaged in voter outreach to maintain relationships with local election officials. Additionally, some tribal nations are not in contact with their city or county clerk at all, meaning their needs or concerns are not part of the conversation when it comes to election administration. Senate Bill 216 would require regular communication between county and city clerks and the tribal nations within their jurisdiction to ensure tribal nations are continually included in conversations surrounding voter participation and access. A brief overview of the bill. Sections 2 and 4 of the bill require county and city clerks to establish and maintain a working relationship with Indian tribes within the county or city's jurisdiction. Again, the intent here is to ensure tribal nations are a part of the conversation and able to provide input or receive information and support. The bill puts the onus on the city and county clerks, the officials responsible for administering elections in the state, to regularly reach out to tribal nations. It will take effort on behalf of both parties to foster a working relationship. However, the initial contact and frequent follow-up contact called for in the bill should come from the city and county clerks who have the resources to contact the tribes and the responsibility to administer elections for all eligible voters in the state. In addition, there are 2 other points in the bill that aim to facilitate participation in our voting process. Nevada's e-system would be expanded under the bill to include tribal nation members, which would support voting in extremely remote communities. Secondly, the bill creates a standalone tribal liaison position in the Secretary of State's office to facilitate polling place establishment. There is an amendment on Nellis proposed by the Washoe County Registrar, and that is an amendment that I consider friendly, and I'd hope that the committee would consider that. With that, I'm not sure if Chief Deputy Secretary of State has anything to say, but if not, I'm happy to stand for questions.
Thank you, Senator Orenshall. Chief Deputy Secretary of State Gabriel DeChara for the record. Thank you, Senator Dondero Loop. Increasing access and accessibility for tribal voters, especially in rural communities, is a priority for Secretary Aguilar and has been since he took office. We're very grateful to Senator Orenshall for bringing this bill and all of the partners that have helped get us here. I just wanted to note that the fiscal note on this bill from the Secretary of State's office is for the bill as it was introduced. We will be able to add a lower fiscal note, I believe somewhere in the $200,000 for the biennium, I think is where we're at, but we'll be adding that to Nellis shortly. That's to support that standalone tribal liaison. The use of ease, that will remove the need for a fiscal note related to additional IT infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Additional comments from you, Senator Orenshall, at all right now?
No additional comments, okay. Madam Chair. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, with that, do we have questions from the committee? And the Washoe County amendment is friendly. It looks as though it shares responsibilities and the timelines are fixed.
That's correct. And I think the amendment from Washoe County tries to make sure that if the clerk or registrar makes that effort to reach out to the tribe and it's not reciprocated, then you know that there's only so much they can do. So it is a friendly amendment.
I appreciate that. Okay, thank you very much. All right, with that, we'll go to support for Senate Bill 216. Please come forward in Carson City. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alex Tanchik with Silver State Government Relations, representing Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe, Shawnee Paiute Tribes of the Duck Valley Indian Reservation, and the Duckwater Shawnee Tribe. Here in support of the bill. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Dermick. I'm the Nevada State Director for Albany's Local Action, and we are in strong support of the bill.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Emily Prasad Zamora with Silver State Voices, and today we're in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here in Carson City in support? All right, we will go to Las Vegas, seeing none. BPS, phone lines when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in support of SB 216, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue or raise your hand in the Zoom window. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to opposition here in Carson City. Seeing none. Las Vegas, seeing none. BPS, when you're ready on the phone lines.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 216, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue or raise your hand in the Zoom window. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral. Neutral here in Carson City. Neutral in Las Vegas. Phone lines, BPS, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in neutral for SB 216, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue or raise your hand in the Zoom window. Caller, please press star 6 to unmute.
Good evening, Chair and Committee. This is Jamie Rodriguez. That's JamieRodriguez. I am the Registrar of Voters for Washoe County. Just wanted to thank Senator Orenshaw for accepting our amendment. As mentioned on the amendment, it's kind of a cleanup associated with the bill that you guys will hear on Saturday. As well as the proponents for working with us so that we could bring forward what I think is going to be a really positive, beneficial bill to ensure that those communications that we do have occurring in much of the state is able to happen across the entire state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next caller, please.
There are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you very much. With that, closing remarks, Senator Orenshaw or Secretary? Okay. Wait for Senator to get down here. Go ahead, please.
Chair Dondera-Loop, members of the committee, thank you for hearing Senate Bill 216. I believe that if it is passed, it has the potential to help tribal members participate in our democracy and remove some of the obstacles that have been present, especially for our tribal members in remote locations. Thank you for hearing it.
Thank you very much. And you can stay put, and I will open the hearing on Senate Bill 443.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair Dondera-Loop, members of the committee. For the record, I'm still James Orenshaw. I represent State Senate District 21, and thank you for hearing Senate Bill 443. Senate Bill 443 is another bill that came out of our Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. As you're all familiar, elections and the right to vote are critical to our democracy and represent the core foundations of our free society. With that said, the measure before you today is brought forward with the intent to continue to provide voting access to the citizens of our state. I'd like to turn to the sections of the bill. Sections 1 through to Section 2 of the bill establish that to register to vote in person during the period for early voting or on Election Day, an elector must provide any current and valid photo identification as proof of identity. If such proof of identity was not issued by the Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles or does not include the person's current residential address, the elector must also provide proof of residency via various forms of proof listed in existing law. Section 1 applies to registering to vote for early voting, and Section 2 applies to registering to vote on Election Day. These same changes are carried throughout Sections 1 and 2. Existing law authorizes the Director of the Department of Motor Vehicles to arrange for extended hours of operation for offices in Clark and Washoe counties. Section 3 of the bill requires the Director of the Department of Motor Vehicles to arrange for DMV offices in Clark and Washoe counties to remain open on weekends and at hours beyond the normal hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., solely for the purpose of issuing or renewing driver's licenses or identification cards for our citizens who need to be able to register to vote during that period of either early voting or on Election Day. These extended hours are required to apply during those 2 weeks prior to the last day to register to vote by mail for a primary, presidential preference primary, or a general election, and also for the 6 calendar days immediately following the day of a primary election, presidential preference primary election, or general election. Lastly, Section 3 prohibits the Department of Motor Vehicles for its offices in Clark and Washoe counties from requiring a person to have an appointment to apply for the issuance of a renewal of a driver's license or identification card during those extended time periods if that application is for the purpose of being able to register to vote during those periods. I'm happy to answer any questions. And we do have a representative from the Department of Motor Vehicles here as well, Chair.
Thank you very much. All right, any questions from the committee? Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think you might have mentioned this, but the qualified elector language on sub 4, section 1, can you just, it's just odd to me. Isn't that like a voter?
And James Orenshaw, Senate District 21, through you, Chair Don Darrow Loop, to Senator Neal. That term qualified elector, actually, I was listening to legal counsel just 2 days ago in front of the Assembly Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, and the discussion was that probably it would be easier to understand if it did say registered voter, but that's what we mean here, elector, not elector like in terms of electoral college or anything like that. Someone being qualified to vote or qualified voter.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions from the committee? Senator Harris, did you raise your hand or were you just thinking? Thank you. All right, seeing no more questions, thank you very much. Did the DMV want to make a comment or just, okay, that's fine. All righty, I understand that. All right, with that said, all those in support in Carson City, please come forward.
Good evening, Chairwoman Don Darrow Loop and committee members. For the record, my name is Emily Prasad Zamora, PERSAUD-ZAMORA. I'm the Executive Director of Silver State Voices that also leads the Let Nevadans Vote Coalition. Today we're in strong support of SB 443 and thank Senator Orenshaw, who's also my senator, for carrying this piece of legislation. It's something that we have seen as an organization that does a lot of electoral work, especially around election protection. A lot of folks don't really know that if they want to participate in same-day voter registration, that they do have to have a current Nevada ID. I know for a lot of us that may be the first thing we think about when we move, but there are a lot of folks that that's not the case for. And so, passing this bill would definitely give access to a lot of folks who may not be aware of this. So we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Dermick. I'm the Nevada State Director for All Voting Locals Action, and we are in strong support of this bill because it only expands easier access to same-day voter registration for all Nevadans. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Isaac Tenorio with Strategies 360, today representing Campaign Legal Center. Same-day registration is an important reform for expanding access to the ballot. It enables citizens to register to vote during early voting period and election day, which is when public interest is high. And we believe it will invite more Nevadans to participate in our democracy, and we urge you to support SB 443. Thank you so much. Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in support? Seeing none, Las Vegas, seeing none, BPS on the phone lines.
The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening. My name is Janine Hansen. I'm the state chairman of the Independent American Party. We have significant concerns about this bill. One of the things that it does is change what we have now, that you have to have a voter, that you have to have a driver's license from the state of Nevada in order to be able to register to vote in those critical last few days. This allows you to have a driver's license from any state in the union to use as ID, and it also, or the District of Columbia. We don't know what the requirements are in those other states in terms of if they allow non-citizens to get driver's licenses or even illegal aliens. So we have significant concerns in opening up the law which does not require a Nevada driver's license. So we're significantly concerned about that. Then we are also concerned about this section that says on page 6 on 5 line 9, if an elector who appears to vote does not have a driver's license or identification card issued by this state or another state or the District of Columbia or any territory of the United States or a social security number, the elector may cast a provisional ballot. If they don't have any ID, they don't have a social security number, nothing, they're allowed to vote. What kind of election integrity is this? We have to have some kind of rules in order to have people have some confidence in our elections. And this certainly doesn't provide it at all. It makes everyone say that it is open to voter fraud and abuse, and it will harm all of us in doing that. Also, this discriminates against rural counties. I live in Elko County. This only allows for the DMVs to be open in Washoe and Clark, not in the rural counties, so we don't, of course, the rural counties are more conservative, so I guess we aren't going to allow them to have extra days to be able to prove that they are a citizen or that they can vote. So that concerns me. And why in the world do we need 6 days after the election for people to be able to go to the DMV to get a voter ID? I guess that's because we've let them vote and they don't have any ID. This particular bill has significant problems, and we completely oppose it. We believe it definitely jeopardizes election integrity and opens the door to voter fraud, and we ask you to oppose the vote, this particular bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hansen. All right, any other opposition here in Carson City? Please go ahead when you're ready.
Hi again, my name's Barbara Jones, for the record. I'm just going to support what has been testified here before. I just was looking at the bill, trying to verify what she was saying, and I see it in the bill, and so I'm just going to say ditto to the other. I'm not that knowledgeable about it, but it doesn't sound right. There's problems. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for being here this evening. All right, any additional opposition here in Carson City? Seeing none in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone lines. BPS, when you're ready.
The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to neutral. Neutral here in Carson City. Seeing no neutral in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone lines. BPS, when you're ready.
CYRUSHOJJATY. Thank you so much. I'd like to ditto the comments made by Janine Hansen. Oh, and also, my friend is here with me. Can I bring him on the line too? Or does he have to call separately?
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Just say ditto with Cyrus.
Perfect,
Ditto
that's
with
even
Cyrus.
better. Thank you. Thank you for calling in this evening. All right, any additional callers, BPS?
Good evening, Chair Dondero, Lupin Committee. I did have my hand raised in negative testimony, but they moved on, and so I hope that I can give you that
Please
now.
go ahead.
You
Please
can
go
put it
ahead.
with negative.
Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. My name is Jim DeGraffenreid. I'm Nevada's National Committee man in opposition to SB 443 on behalf of the Nevada Republican Party. Since 2020, Nevada has become a laughingstock of the country due to our inability to count ballots in a timely manner, while anyone who visits a casino can attest to our skills in counting chips and cash. SB 443 creates further delays in reporting final accurate election results by encouraging additional provisional ballots. Provisional ballots, which come primarily from same-day voter registrations, are already difficult and complex for counties to manage. This bill adds further complexity and delays to the process for no reason, because it is already excessively easy to register to vote in Nevada. You can register to vote online, in person, automatically at the DMV, or at a polling place on Election Day. Once registered, voters have ballots delivered to them free of charge without even asking. Registering and voting in Nevada is already so ridiculously easy that there is no reason to make it harder on counties to deliver results in an effort to make it even easier. It should be easy to vote and hard to cheat. The language in Section 3, subsection 2B, which has an additional 6 days of special treatment by the DMV, whose mission should not include voter registration in the first place, in an effort to enable people to vote after the election, is unneeded complexity when most adults already have a photo ID as part of functioning in society, a driver's license. We also oppose the adopted amendment. While it's true that it raises the bar on required ID from the original bill that would have allowed voters to register with literally any photo ID like a Costco card, but it is still far weaker than current law, which requires the Nevada driver's license or ID, and we encourage the existing law be retained. For all of these reasons, we ask you to please vote no on SB 443. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional callers, BPS?
Caller, press star 6 to unmute.
Okay, say your name. Alex Rodriguez. They ditto the previous comment. I ditto the previous comment.
Please go ahead, sir.
This is Alex Rodriguez. I'm here on behalf of the Libertarian Party. I also oppose this bill. I ditto the last comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Any additional neutral, BPS?
There are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, any closing comments, Senator Orenshaw?
Thank you very much, Chair Dondero Loop. And with your permission, Ms. Prasad Zamora worked with me on the bill. If she could come up, I think there might be just a couple of comments she'd like to make. I appreciate the opposition's comments. However, I think there's some misunderstandings of the bill. I believe that Senate Bill 443 certainly removes obstacles for people who are registering during those periods specified in the bill and want to participate in our democratic process. But I also believe there are safeguards in the bill in terms of the registration, the proof of residency requirements needing to be within 60 days current that are in the bill, and certainly Provisional ballots, I wish the Secretary of State were still here, but anyone who votes a provisional ballot, that is very closely scrutinized by election officials. And I think, Ms. Prasad-Zamora, I think there might have been a couple comments she wanted to address. With your permission, Chair.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Dondero-Loop. The two things I wanted to clarify on the bill, in the opposition, there was a comment made around why the DMV needed to be open 6 days after Election Day. And the reason why that was put in the bill is due to ballot curing, in case that there is somebody who's using a vote by mail ballot and had any particular issues and needed to show proof of ID. So they would be able to get a copy of their ID in time to be able to validate their mail ballot if they had an issue with ballot curing. And the second thing that I also wanted to clarify is there was, in the opposition, there was mention about discrimination in the rural counties and this only being something that supported Clark and Washoe. The reason why we made that decision is that only the DMVs currently in Clark and Washoe are currently open on Saturday, and so it was an easier lift to extend to those particular counties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, a question? Senator Neal.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. It's late. But I'm just trying to figure out, how are they going to get into the DMV even if it's open and they have an appointment? So how is the appointment process going to work online? You're going to say, I don't have an ID and I want to go vote, and then they're going to let you in, or you show up at the door like Target commercial and say, open, open?
James Orenshaw, Senate 21, through you, Chair Dondero-Loop, to Senator Neal. As and I'm very lucky, I got to work with Secretary of State's office and with representatives from the Department of Motor Vehicles. And as I understood the process, there would not be an appointment required. If you were needing to get into the DMV for the process of being able to either register to vote, or if there's a ballot curing issue, there would not be an appointment required. And during those extended hours, what I was told is that they would not be taking other customers for license renewals and registration. Those extended hours would be specifically for people who needed to either get that license, or if there's anything else they had to do for the purposes of being able to vote or register to vote.
Any additional thoughts, questions, comments? Okey doke.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator Neal.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you for your presentation, and I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 443, and we will do our last agenda item, which is public comment. If you are wishing to make public comment, please dial 888-475-4499. And when prompted, please provide the meeting ID 823-1948-7991, and then press pound. That is 823-1948-7991, and then press pound. And when prompted for the participant ID, you will press pound again. All right, we'll start here in Carson City. Anyone with public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to Las Vegas. Seeing none, BPS, when phone lines are ready.
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. There are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Okay, with that, then, we'll see you members tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. right back here in 1214. Thank you very much and have a nice evening. This meeting is adjourned.